In August of 2021, I learned that my lifelong camp friend got hired at the school where me and my wife work. What started as exciting quickly turned into dread when I got this old, uncomfortable feeling. Despite my unease, though, I trusted my wife and my friend. But when this friend moved into an apartment down the hall from us, things started getting out of hand. I mean, you wouldn't dare guess how many text messages they sent between each other. Anyway, this is where my cheating story begins. The last several months for me have truly been a nightmare, so I need help navigating this situation. Me and my ex-wife met at summer camp in 2013, and we were counselors at our respective camps, where we'd both been campers ourselves during our childhood. These are traditional sleepaway camps in Maine, and are truly historic institutions that have been around for over 100 years and boast amazing traditions. Families have sent multiple generations of sons and daughters to this place, and many staff members have spent 20 summers or more there. These camps are affiliated and are considered brother and sister camps. They're close to one another, celebrate their histories together, and have many social gatherings during the summer. Camp has always been a home to me, and my ex-wife and I share a deep emotional connection to them, and so do thousands of other people who've been lucky enough to spend their summers there. Meeting someone who shared the special bond of camp was a dream come true, especially for me, because I devoted so much of my life to that place. It had become a major part of my identity. We met in July at a counselor party in the woods. I've always been shy and introverted, but she was outgoing and had a wonderful personality. I'll never forget the moment she came up to me next to the fire. She made me feel wanted, and what began as something casual that summer quickly turned into something more. 2 months later, I was visiting her in Seattle where she was doing a grad program. It felt right, but our different lines of work forced the relationship to be long distance for several years. We did camp in the summers and saw each other regularly through the off-season from 2013 to 2016. She worked a few different teaching jobs and I operated a small construction company, while also doing some work at camp in the off-season. Eventually, she got a job teaching at a boarding school in Massachusetts, and after her first year there, I applied for a job and was hired as well. We were finally living together after having been long distance for over 4 years. Working that job together wasn't easy, as it was a boarding school for middle school boys. This job required intense supervision, putting them to bed, waking them in the morning, and working every other weekend. Teaching was challenging in many ways, and I never really envisioned myself as a teacher. And in hindsight, I think this led to many problems. However, the vacations were great, and we got the summers off, which meant we could continue going to camp. I want to emphasize that while our relationship was in many ways built around camp, we did share a unique bond. We understood each other and shared hobbies and interests. We went through so much together, and we certainly loved each other from the deepest place of our hearts. I cared for her so much. In February of 2021, my 4th year teaching, I finally proposed. We'd been together for about 8 years at that point, so it was definitely time, and I felt bad for making her wait for so long. For me, it was never about my love for her. It was more so about feeling like life was settled and I was in a good position to get married, financially and career-wise. I always knew she was the one, but for whatever reason, I didn't act on these feelings until I saw it as perfect timing. I know that she wanted me to propose long before I did, but nonetheless, it was the happiest moment of our lives. In December of 2021, we'd end up getting married in front of a huge crowd consisting of our families and closest friends, many of whom were camp people. Now here is where the story gets ugly. In August of 2021, one of my lifelong camp friends and soon-to-be groomsmen got hired at the school we worked at. He, like many others, wanted to try teaching because it allowed him to go back to camp in the summer. I was thrilled to have a close friend working at school with me, but there was a bit of an awkward history between him and my ex-wife. During the second year we were dating, I learned that the two of them were intimately texting each other on a regular basis. It was nothing sexual, but it did make me weary of what was going on when I looked at her phone. I confronted her about it, and it stopped. But when he got hired at the school, I'll admit, I felt slightly uneasy. But that was almost 7 years ago, and he and I were extremely close friends, so I let it go. I do want to admit that I've always been envious of my now former friend, because he's tall, very athletic, extremely intelligent, talented as a woodworker, and according to the women I've heard from, very attractive. For some reason, I've always compared myself to him, in almost an obsessive way. Fast forward to the next school year, which is 2022, and he's moved into the apartment right down the hall from me and my ex-wife, as he became the dorm parent. I felt a strange sense of dread when I learned this, and while it was supposed to be exciting to be that close to a dear friend, it was as if I could see something bad was about to happen. That whole school year was like standing on train tracks, knowing a train was coming, but for some reason, not being able to get out of the way. Every interaction between him and my ex-wife slowly started to make me more and more uncomfortable. I observed the two of them like a hawk. He was the attractive bachelor that would come over to hang out with me and flirt with my wife in the process. It made me sick, but I kept it in. Towards the spring term, I really began to think something was going on, as there was a night when I found the two of them alone at midnight in the dorm common room, 1.5 hours after they put the students to bed. They were sitting on the couch next to each other, almost whispering. It was so uncomfortable. I confronted them, and they could sense the discomfort in my expressions. Then we all went to bed. I began to notice my ex-wife taking her phone into the bathroom with her, and she had put a passcode on it. Towards the end of the year, the energy between them was so observable that there were rumors among some of the other faculty members that they were sleeping together. As the school year was ending and we were preparing to go to camp, my ex-wife sat me down and began explaining how she was unhappy, and that she felt like I don't give her the attention she needs, don't meet her needs, and doesn't feel like she has a partner in me. I was so sad to hear this. I would have done anything to make her happy, and I vowed to work harder to meet her expectations. She said that she needs space, and that she wants to spend the summer apart so that she can miss me again. But in no way did she want to see other people or want a divorce. This all came after a night where we were all at a party together, and I said that I wanted to leave early, which I did, but she decided to stay. I later learned that she drunkenly walked home with my friend at the end. Over the course of the summer, we didn't see each other, but we talked. I took care of our dog, but the narrative was the same. She'd say she was unhappy, but unsure about getting a divorce. My responses were consistently around the fact that this marriage is the most important thing in my life, and working to fix it is my priority. I was apologetic for making her feel the way she did, but it's not as if I was some deadbeat who didn't do anything to help or was never around. I did all the cleaning, all the cooking, all the grocery shopping, and managed all of our finances. I cared for her through consistent acts of kindness and service. What she was lacking was more of an emotional connection, but she's just as guilty of not cultivating that in our relationship. During the summer, she dropped a bomb on me and said,
I don't think we should keep working at school together. Either you resign or I will.
She'd always wanted to move on from working there, to start a family and live a more normal life. And I think she blamed me for not doing more to get us out of there. Anyway, I begrudgingly took one for the team and resigned midsummer. I did this purely because I thought it was what she needed for us to improve our marriage, but now needed to find a new job and a new place to live. She didn't even want to live together anymore, so it was extremely stressful. But I took it because I loved her and thought I was doing what she wanted. Her birthday was at the end of the summer, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to show her how much I cared. I bought her some very nice Tiffany diamond earrings, but she ended up telling me that she wanted to be left alone on her birthday. And when I gave her the earrings, she ended up giving them back to me. I was curious about what she was doing on her birthday, as we were both still at our camps, even though the summer was basically over. I decided to look at her location on my phone, and she wasn't at her camp. Instead, she was down the road at the family lake house of my friend. I drove over there to find her car and his truck in the driveway, and they were sitting on the couch next to each other, alone, on her birthday. I was so angry and disgusted that I confronted them. He said nothing, like a coward, and all she said was that she needed a friend on her birthday, but I told her that I don't believe what she's saying and stormed off. And over the next few days, I began to get very suspicious. She was now back at school with my friend, so I was extremely anxious and curious about what was going on between them. I ended up downloading our cell phone records for the past few months, which turned out to be truly heartbreaking. I learned that the two of them sent each other over 9,000 text messages between May 15th and August 15th. That's almost 100 per day. I was so shocked and disturbed by what I had learned. I mean, how was that even possible? We were all at camp, busy around kids and supervising them in a setting where you aren't supposed to use your phone. Oftentimes, they were up extremely late into the evening. I'm talking like 2 or 3 a.m. texting each other. As you can imagine, I was devastated to learn this. I'd been hanging out with my friend all summer, only to learn that he was secretly texting my wife the whole time. I confronted them about this, and the story was that she started texting him as a friend to talk about the issues in her marriage. I couldn't begin to imagine how two people who were just friends could send that many texts over such a short amount of time. My intuition told me it was all bullshit, and I should have just divorced her right then. But I held on for what little hope remained. I thought maybe there was a chance that they really were just being friendly, and maybe there was still hope for us. I spent the entire fall, September to November, reiterating my commitment to her, sending my love, expressing how much I missed her, only to get very little in return. I expressed time and time again that I'm worried about her and my friend, but she told me adamantly on multiple occasions that nothing was going on and that there never would be. She had absolutely no interest in a relationship with him, and at this time, my friend and I weren't speaking. I told all of my other camp friends about what I learned and expressed my fears that my ex-wife was having an affair with him. And because we were all such close friends, this alienated my friend and ex-wife. They had many people from multiple communities seeing them through a different lens, and eventually, in November, she filed for divorce. I could sense it was coming, but I wanted to do everything I could to save our marriage. Even with the wildly uncomfortable relationship she started with my friend, I was willing to forgive her. In December, she called to tell me that she was going to pursue a relationship with my friend, which was the worst news I've ever received. I just wanted everything to end, but as it turns out, she didn't even tell me the truth at that moment. The truth was that she and my friend had actually been dating since the beginning of September and had been seeing each other secretly all summer. I learned this through my ex-wife's friends, who spilled the beans on the subject. I've been upset and distraught since learning this, and I spend every waking moment wishing I was no longer here. I feel so insignificant, and the pain of being pushed aside for someone else is horrible. Add in the horrible lies, deceit, and the betrayal from two people you trusted so deeply. It makes you truly question if life's worth living. Why even try to trust another human being ever again? The only thing that gives me relief is when my friends tell me that the two of them have shown their true colors and have lost many friends because of this. I understand being unhappy in a marriage, but to complain about that to your husband's friend especially one who you knew your husband was concerned about, is wildly inappropriate. The lying to my face on so many occasions was so hurtful. This situation makes me question everything. Did she ever love me? Did she always secretly want to be with my former friend? How could they be comfortable with this? What will their families think when they bring each other home? I got pushed out of a job so my ex-wife could pursue a relationship with one of the groomsmen at our wedding. I'm not perfect and have never claimed to be, but I was a loving husband who wouldn't have been caught dead doing something like this to my ex-wife. Pursuing another woman absolutely never crossed my mind. I simply don't understand how they could hurt me like this. They've both shown such little remorse, and that makes me sick. The image of them together, sleeping in the bed I built, using the gifts from our wedding, makes me want to end it all. I can't take another minute of this pain. Maybe she didn't want to be with me anymore. I can accept that, but to do what she did, and lie so elaborately, is cruel and unforgivable.
OP's ex-wife and former friend really did a number on him. OP tells this story in a way that sounds super romantic, as all the cards lined up so perfectly for him and his now ex-wife. It sort of sounded like a fairy tale in how he described things, which probably made him think the relationship was unbreakable and would last forever. Unfortunately, though, life isn't a Disney movie, and people can be absolute bastards to each other, which OP learned the hard way. Honestly, he should be thankful that his wife filed for divorce, because had this marriage continued, things would have been much worse for OP down the line. This story should be seen as a teachable moment, in that you should pay attention to the signs or red flags that your partner is giving off. While listening to this story, it was very clear from early on that his wife was cheating. Close friendships between men and women like that will always be suspicious to me. I don't care how progressive the world seems to be regarding male and female friendships. I can only hope that OP gets the support he needs so he can make it out the other side. Getting your heart broken in such a way isn't something I would wish upon anyone.
Anyway, what do you guys think? I hope you enjoyed today's video on coffee and popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.